Form customization in Zoho People. We already know that there are default forms available in the system. In addition to these default forms, you can also create custom forms to suit your organization's requirement. We are going to discuss about the various steps involved in creating a new form. So let's navigate to Settings. Click on View All. So here you see the existing services available in the system. So you can create a new form and you can place it in the existing services, or you can create a new service and place it under the new service. In order to create a form under an existing service, so click on the service name. For example, let's take Timesheet. Click on Timesheet. Navigate to the Extend Service tab. Here you have an option to add a new form. So you can click on Add Form to create a new form, or what you can do is go to the option Move Form, where you can move a form from other services to Timesheet module. For example, I want to take this form, Travel Request, and I want to place it under Timesheet. So select this particular form and click on Move. So now you have the Travel Request form placed under the Timesheet mode. So this is one option to do it, where you're going to create a new form under an existing service. Or what you can do is, we'll move back to Settings. Click on View All. Here you have a button called Add New Service. For example, you want to create an asset request form, but you don't want to place it under an existing service. What you can do is, click on the button Add New Service, give a name. So let's call it as Asset Management. Provide a description and then click on Save. So now we have a new service created, and here under Extend Service, you do have a provision to create a new form. So let's click on Add Form. You're going to give a form name. So let's call it as an Asset Request Form. Provide a description. So when creating a new form, you can either create it from scratch or you can clone the form. So for example, if you already have a form similar to the asset request form, what you can do is, you can click on Clone Existing Form, select the sample form, and then you can clone it, or you can create a new form from scratch. When creating a form, you can also have the auto numbering option. So if you want to enable it, click on auto numbering. You can give a name. For example, let's call it as Asset Request. You're going to give a prefix for the auto number. And then starts from. So let's make it as 001. So once these information are provided, you can click on Save. Now you will be redirected to a page where you're going to actually add fields to this form. So there are different types of fields that you can make use of. So let's first understand what are all the field types available. Then we'll see how to add these fields to this form. So starting with single line and multi-line fields. So single line and multi-line fields are open-ended fields. For example, if you would like to add a remark section, you want the employee to write a remark, you can make use of single line or multi-line field. So both these field types will accept any character, for example, numbers, alphabets, special characters, or anything. So the difference between a single line field and a multi-line field is, single line field can hold up to only 255 characters, wherein multi-line field can hold up to 15,000 characters. And then we have email ID field. So you can use this field if you want the employee to particularly mention the email ID, not any other text. And then we have the URL field. So if you want the employee to attach a URL, you can make use of it. And then we have a number and decimal field. So number field will only accept numbers, not any other characters. Or if you want to have decimal values, make use of decimal field. And then we have drop down. So if you want to give your employees a predefined list to choose from, you can use a drop down field. Or you can also go with the radio field. So drop down and radio fields are similar, but the only difference is the way they appear. And then we have a date field if you want to capture the date. For example, the return date of the asset, you can use a date field. The next type is a date and time field, where you want to capture date along with the time, you can make use of it. We have an image field. So if you want the employee to upload an image as a proof, you can make use of the image field. And then we have file uploads. So file upload will accept image and as well as documents. So that's the difference between the image field and the file upload field. And then we have gender. So gender is a predefined drop-down list which you can use. Same way blood group. So blood group is also a drop-down field, but the drop-down options are predefined in the system. And then we have the country field, which is a predefined drop-down. You can use a currency field. So for example, if employees are going to input the reimbursement amount, then you can make use of the currency field. And here we have a decision box. If you want the employees to make a tick mark, you can use a decision box. And we have few advanced fields. So starting with a lookup. So whenever you are creating a new form, the very first field that you're going to add is going to be a user lookup, because you want to understand for which user this record is being created. Because there are chances that an admin can create a form on behalf of the employee, or even the manager can create a form on behalf of the employee. So you need to understand for which employee the record is created. And to capture this information, you will always need a user lookup field. So that is what lookup is about. And then we have multi-select. This is a multi-select drop-down field. When you want your employees to choose more than one option from a drop-down, you will go with multi-select drop-down. And then we have a formula field. So if you want to calculate some basic formulas, for example, there are two different number fields. And you want one formula field to calculate the total of these two number fields. In such case, you can go with the formula fields. And then we have a phone number field. So you're going to collect the emergency contact number in the employee master for your employees. You can make use of the phone number field. And then we have the address field. So to capture the address, you can make use of the address field, so that this address field will have a bifurcation like address line 1, address line 2, what is the state, country and pin code. And then finally, we have a notes field. So notes field is an input provided from the admin's end, not to collect input from the employee's end. For example, before mentioning address information, you want employees to make sure of a specific checklist. So any instruction that you would like to provide employees before filling up this form, you can add it as a note. So what we'll do right now is, we are going to add all of these fields into this form and we are going to do a quick preview of it. So let's start by adding a single line field. So to add a new field into this form, you're just going to drag and drop. It's a very basic drag and drop interface. So we'll just take a single line field and we are going to place it over here. And you can change the display name if you want. Right now, we'll keep it as single line 1. So it will be easy for us to understand when we preview the form. So you click on save. So after you add a particular field, there are few field properties related to it. So we have added a single line field. Click on single line. Towards your right, you see the field properties. So first is display name. If you want to change the name, you can still do it. And then we have validation. The first one is called mandatory field. So if you want to make this field mandatory, that is, you don't want your employees to skip this information before submitting it, you can make it as mandatory. And then we have no duplicate. So if you're making this single line field as no duplicate, no two records can carry same value for this particular field. That is what we call it as no duplicate. You can also set minimum characters that this field should have and maximum characters that this field should have. So for example, if you're adding minimum character to be 50, employee cannot submit this form if this field has characters less than 50. And then you have the functionality called autofill. So if you want the system to autofill this field with a specific value, for example, you can autofill it with the employee ID, first name or last name, or you can even enter a custom text over here. So that is what the autofill functionality is about. And then we have few general configuration, starting with marking this field as a personal data. So whenever you mark this field as a personal data, first thing is it is getting classified as personal data and this information is encrypted by the system. So for example, in the backend, the actual value will not be displayed. So even in case of hacking, they'll not be able to view the actual data here. It will be masked or encrypted. The next option is you can mark it as EPHI, which means any medical related information that you collect from your employees will be marked as EPHI. So for example, you are having a single line field and you ask your employees to mention any type of food allergies they have. This is a medical information. So in order to mark it as a medical information, you can use this marker. When this marker is enabled, this data will be automatically encrypted from the backend. Or you can simply encrypt this data. You don't want to mark it as a personal data or a medical information. You can just encrypt the data. And then you have audit. So audit helps you to track the previous changes made. So for example, the employee is initially adding the food allergies over here. And after 6 months, they are editing this information. So you want to have a track of edits made on all the previous months. So in that case, you can enable audit. So by enabling audit, you will understand what was the previous information, who made changes to it, and at what date and time the changes were made. And then finally, we have mask. So mask is just masking the information. It's not encrypting the data in backend. You are just masking the data in the front end. So these are the different general configuration that you can have with respect to a single line field. You can also add a tooltip. So just like providing information on what type of data the employee has to give, you can add a tooltip. So when it comes to adding a tooltip, there are two different options to choose from. First option is info icon. So there will be an information icon. When they hover their mouse over the information icon, the tooltip will be available. Or the next option is you can provide it as a fixed text. So we'll see both these options. So for this single line field, we'll add a tooltip as an information icon. So this is about a single line field and all the properties related to single line field. So now let's add a multi-line field. So after adding this field, you have field properties. So the properties are moreover same with respect to single line and multi-line field, except for you will not have no duplicate under validation and you will not have a provision to mask the information. So rest all information remains the same. And now we are going to add an email ID field. Click on save. And we have field properties. So it's the same, like you have mandatory field, no duplicate, maximum characters, you have audit history, and you can also set the initial value, which means that this predefined text will be available to the employee when adding a new record. They can remove this information and they can add their own email ID. And you can also add tooltip if needed. So now we are going to add an URL field. Click on save. So you have field properties, we have mandatory field, and you can also enable audit. So field properties depends upon the type of field that you're adding. So next we are going to add a number field. Click on save. So now we have field properties. Since it's a number field, you have an additional field property which is called display format. So you can choose any one of the display format over here, and then validation remains the same. And you have maximum digits. So you don't want employee to add more than 19 digits to this number field. You can add it here. You can also increase or decrease it. And you can also set what is the minimum value. So you want to capture numbers only between 10 to 100. In this case, you can set up a minimum and maximum value. And then we have few of the general configuration. We have discussed all of these options previously. You can add an initial value, and then we have the tooltip. So now let's add a decimal field. Click on save. Field properties. So we have display format. The validation remains the same. Audit. Here you can add the decimal points, like whether you want to capture 1 decimal point, 2 or 3. You can mention the decimal points over here. You can also set up the initial value. You can add tooltip. So next we are going to add a drop-down field. So when you're adding a drop-down field, you'll have to mention the drop-down options. So again, under field properties, we have the choices. So you will be able to add the choices over here. And then you can mark it as a mandatory field. You can enable audit. But here we have one new addition, which is called quick add. So whenever you're adding a drop-down field or a radio field, you will have this property called quick add, which is nothing but As an admin, you are creating a new request to assert request form. In that case, you do have the predefined drop-down options over here, but you would like to add a new choice to this drop-down. You will be able to do it if quick add is enabled. And then we have this option, show choices in alphabetical order. So if you want the system to sort out the choices based on alphabetical order, you can use this option. And then we go with the radio button. So click on save. Now we move on to field properties. So here the option remains the same. You're going to mention the choices, mandatory field, audit, quick add, and then the tooltip. So here we move on to date fields. So click on save, field properties. So here in validation, we have more options. So first is mandatory field. We know what is mandatory field. We know how no duplicate works. Now we have additional options, that is allow pass date. Do you want your employees to add a pass date to this date field? If yes, you can enable it, because if this option is disabled, your employees will not have an option to mention a pass date. Same goes with future date, if you're going to allow them to enter a future date. The next condition is allow dates before. So if you click on this option, all the date fields will be listed here. So all the date fields from your employee form will be listed here, and you can say employee can add any date before birth date. The next option is about allow dates after. So you want employees to add any date after their date of joining. They should not enter any date that is before their date of joining. So you can make use of these conditions, allow dates before and allow dates after. And then you have this functionality autofill with. So you can autofill this date with the current date. For example, you are creating a resignation request form and there is a field called resignation date, and you want the system to auto update the current date as the resignation date. So you can make use of this option, current date, or you can go with custom. So you can mention a static date over here. So whenever an employee is adding a record, this date will be updated as the resignation date or whatever date field that you have in the file. And then you have the general configuration, which we already know. You can also add a tooltip. So date field is done. Now we are moving on to date and time. So date and time also has the same set of validation that we discussed for the date field. So now we move on to image. So you can drag and drop the image field, click on save. So we have limited field properties. You can make it as mandatory. You can enable audit. You can add a tooltip. So next we have a file upload field. So click on save. Go to field properties. So we have validation, audit, field type, and tooltip. And then we have gender. So gender is a drop-down field, but here the drop-down options are predefined. So you'll not be able to customize it under field properties. So we have mandatory field, audit, and then we have tooltip. We move on to blood group. So even blood group is a default drop-down field. So you have the field properties similar to gender. So next is going to be country, which is again a predefined drop-down. So click on save, move to field properties. So it's same as that of gender and blood group. So then we have currency. Click on save. So you can choose the currency type and you can also choose the display format. So here you have validation. You have an option to mask this information, and you can also mention the decimal points and then the tooltip. So whenever you're adding a currency field, by default it will be a decimal value. And finally we have the decision box. Basically like a checklist option. So we have mandatory field, we have audit, but here you have one more option called initial state. So whether the initial state of this decision box should be yes or no, that is whether it should be enabled or disabled. So these are all the basic fields. Now we move on to the advanced fields. So first we have the lookup field. Just drag and drop it. Give a display name. And you can select what type of data you're going to take a lookup from. Is it the employee data? Is it the department data? For example, you want the employee to mention which department they belong to. So you can take a lookup from the department form. So you can select import data from, and what field you would like to take a lookup of. So as I said earlier, when you're creating a new form, the very first lookup field that you're going to add is an employee lookup, which will help you to identify for which employee the record is being created. So we say employee data from employee form, and the field name is employee ID. You can also pull some related fields, that is, you want to understand who is a reporting manager, but you don't want the employee to manually key in the reporting manager information. So you can pull a reporting manager as a related field directly from the employee form. So I'll take reporting manager and the date of joining. And you will have to mark this as a primary lookup because one form can have more than one user lookup, but one lookup should be treated as a primary lookup, which will help you to define permissions. So mark it as a primary lookup, click on save. This is a lookup field, and then we have a multi-select dropdown. Same as a dropdown field, but here the employee will have an option to choose more than one option. So the field property remains the same as that of a dropdown field. And then you can add a formula field. We have the phone number option. So if you want the employee to specifically mention the phone number, use this option. You can also set maximum characters. So in case of phone numbers, you don't want employee to put more than 10 characters. You can make use of this option. And then we have the address field to capture the address information. So field properties, we have mandatory field, we have audit, and we have tooltip. And then finally, we have the notes field. So here you can write any text, which will be displayed as a description to your employee. So let's add any information, click on save. So now we have added all type of fields into this form. Let's quickly do a preview. So I directly go to step 4, review this information. So you can see a single line field. You're going to add a text. So this is a tooltip using the information icon. And then you have a multi-line field. This is an URL, a decimal field, email ID, numbers. This is a drop-down field. So the options are provided in this way. Now, this is a radio field. It is just a different format how the options are displayed. A date and time field. So you can capture the date as well as the time. But here is a date field. It will capture only the date. And then you can upload image. You can upload files. So a predefined drop-down field country. So all countries are being displayed here. Gender, lead group. This is the checkbox field that we have. And this is the multi-select drop-down. So an employee can select more than one option. And then we have the address field. So if you can see, the address field is split into many options. That is address line 1, 2, city, country, state, and then the postal code. So this is the notes that we have created, basically like an instruction. So ideally you will place notes as a first field so that the employee can read the description or instruction and then they can start filling out a form. So these are all the different fields available that you can make use to create a new form in Zoho People. So here we have discussed about how to create a new form and what are all the different fields available for you to create a new form and what are all the field properties associated with these fields.